Hello and welcome back to my daily blog. I'd like to start today a little bit differently by telling a parable of a different sort, a story I'm sure we're all familiar with. There was a wealthy moneylender, known for being miserly and mean-spirited, particularly with money. He was despised by all who knew him, until one night he was visited by the ghost of his former business partner, now forced to spend eternity shackled by the chains he had forged in life by his underhand business deals and cruel nature. To save his friend from the same fate, 3 more ghosts would visit with visions of the past, present and future. The visions of the past reveal a lonely child who replaced love and family with ambition and wealth, leading to a future where he would die alone, unloved and unmourned. The stark reality of this future breaks the curse of greed and causes the man to become generous, kind, and a true friend to those around him. This story is, of course, that of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge sees the error of his ways and becomes a better man. Now, Charles Dickens himself had complicated views on organised religion, but firmly believed in the teachings of Jesus, with references to New Testament teachings scattered amongst his works, all used as social commentary of the harsh Victorian backdrop. So why am I telling you this story? It's not Christmas. Today, we are looking at the parable of serving 2 masters, which appears in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, and Luke chapter 16, verse 13. As Ian explained yesterday, this verse in Luke comes at the end of the parable of the shrewd manager. So I will be looking at this verse in Matthew. No one is able to be a slave to 2 masters. Either they will hate the one and love the other, or they will cling to the one and look down on the other. You are not able to serve both God and riches. If we remember from my blog last week, a slave, unlike a servant, is the sole property of his master. That is important in the context of this parable, as if a person is completely owned by another, then it would be almost impossible to be in the employ of someone else, let alone have time to like one better than the other. Their schedule would be tied up from morning to night, and there would be no time to even contemplate serving someone else. Jesus told this parable in Matthew as part of his larger Sermon on the Mount, the longest discourse attributed to Jesus in the 4 Gospels, taking up 3 chapters of Matthew and containing some of the most famous teachings, including the Beatitudes, or beautiful attitudes, as we like to say, and the Lord's Prayer. Now, it's interesting in this parable how riches here are personified as something to love and serve. Jesus isn't condemning having money per se, merely showing concern for how it can rule over us to the extent that it takes our love away from God and therefore away from God's kingdom. If we return briefly to A Christmas Carol, the ghost of Christmas past shows Scrooge a scene where his fiancée, Belle, leaves him, citing this very thing, a love of money, as the reason. So I read, "Another idol has displaced me, and it can cheer and comfort you in time to come, as I would have tried to do. I have no just cause to grieve." "What idol has replaced you?" he rejoined. "A golden one." This is obviously a hyperbolic statement, as Scrooge does not literally worship money, yet is a perfect example of what Jesus was trying to say. You can't love one person completely if your heart lies somewhere else. Therefore, you cannot fully love and belong to God if you're more concerned with money. It's also filled with religious imagery. A golden idol, reminiscent of the golden calf erected by the Israelites to worship while Moses was receiving the tablets bearing the 10 Commandments. And of course, to this very passage, saying just this: you cannot serve both God and money. Obviously, we all have to think about money a bit. We have to pay to live. That's just a fact of life. But live humbly, not ostentatiously. Jesus wants us to not be a slave to money, not let our desire for wealth and material possessions define us. Scrooge lived to make money, but it wasn't until he started to give it away that he truly felt alive. Let's be like that. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.